Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Deepak Tade, and today we have Noah Bhai with us. Hello Noah Bhai, how are you?
हाय दीपक भाई, आप कैसे हैं?
मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ. And how is your week been going?
हाँ, मेरा हफ्ता अच्छा चल रहा है. It's been going well, and just an ordinary week in my end.
Awesome. And yeah, how is the weather today?
बहुत ठंडी मौसम है. Very cold.
I see. And yeah, I was just thinking, you have kind of, you don't have rainy season, right? As like we have in India, we have three seasons: summer, winter, and rainy seasons. So, what are the weather like in Australia?
Yeah, so we have 4 seasons. We have a summer season. I think we're on the opposite side of the hemispheres to you, and so we have summer when you're having winter. So we have a summer, a spring, which is when it's warming up. We have an autumn, which is when it's cooling down, and then we have a winter when it's really cold. So
It's winter going on right now.
it's actually spring at the moment. So spring is funny weather in that sometimes it's warm and sometimes it's cold. And today it's turned really cold.
Awesome, great. I hope you are enjoying the nice weather.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not a fan of cold weather. I like hot weather because you can wear shorts and t-shirt, which is great.
Awesome, great. So, I was thinking for this conversation, why don't we talk about language learning? Since you and I, we both are learning new language.
Yeah,
So,
great. Let's do it.
awesome. So yeah, what do you think about this school method? So I went to school for maybe 12 years, 15 years. I started learning English for 8 years. Like from standard 5, I started learning English. And then when I, got out of college, I wasn't able to speak in English. So what was that like? They had all those grammar rules and stuff. So do you think these methods really work?
Interesting. So अगर हमारे listeners ने हमारा आखिरी conversation सुना, if they heard our last conversation, they would know that I didn't go to school. I was homeschooled, and so I can't actually tell you about the school method. But I guess what I've used is a different method to what school uses. So I think most schools focus on grammar rules and on being able to read and write very, very accurately according to certain rules. But what I've done in my language learning is I have focused much more on conversation. And so when I have practiced Hindi, Hindustan Dost se baat karta hu. I've been practicing with them, and मुझे लगता है कि बातचीत ज़्यादा मददगार है. I think that conversation, just every day, sort of just chatting, is much more helpful for learning because we practice the things that we normally would use in a language.
Awesome. So yeah, you went through the journey completely opposite than most of us we do. So we start learning by all the grammar rules, and you directly jumped into the conversation part. So what was that like? What kind of troubles or problems did you have in the beginning?
Yeah. So when I first started learning Hindi, so in Australia, very few people would learn Hindi. Most commonly, like if someone's learning another language, they might learn French or German or Indonesian or maybe Chinese, because the countries that are closest to us, China and Indonesia. But if they're learning a European language, they might learn French and German. But very few people are learning Hindi. So I started with learning through Duolingo, which is an app, and it taught me very basic words like Seb and Kala and Nam. And so that gave me a little bit of a foundation. I learned to read Devanagari, but there was only a certain level that you can learn by just using an app. And so I started finding language partners through HelloTalk, which is how I met you, Deepak Bhai. But it's interesting. So when I first started conversation, I couldn't, like, I would say like Mera Naam Noah Hu, and I would not know how to actually just say the most basic of sentences. But I found that the more I practiced, the more I made mistakes, the more people gently corrected my mistakes, that gently I gradually, very slowly, dire progress. So my language learning very slowly progressed. But I think as well, when you think about how we naturally learn languages, so if a baby is growing up and they're learning their mother tongue, they start by learning a few basic words, mum, dad, water, food, or the basic things that we learn. And then they grow just by naturally listening to conversation and by practicing sounds. And so I've more or less tried to follow that same sort of method just by practicing and learning and rather than focusing on grammar. So I do have a grammar book for Hindi, but it's probably been 6 or 8 months since I've looked at it.
Wow, awesome. And no test at all. So yeah, you didn't do any test, or you are just learning it naturally. It's really awesome.
Did you ever do tests in English?
Yeah, I've done a lot of tests back at school. Yeah. And they were like, and I was good at, I was good at writing tests, and I got marks like 70, 80. So like if you are getting 70% at some subject, so you must be able to, have that conquered that language at least 70%. But it is completely opposite to that. I did not even know how, I would like to share one incident of mine. I went to a shop and there were some ladies standing, and I just wanted to, place my order over there. So I wanted to tell the shopkeeper that I want this. I think I was gonna buy a glass of juice or something. So I went there and I just wanted to say that lady, like, excuse me, madam. So let me please go. Can I get past you? And I had really no confidence. I was like, and my voice, I was like choked. And एक minute, madam. And I went to Hindi. Oh my God, Deepak, you can't speak a single word. How can how can you manage with this language? Oh my God. Then I realized this bookish English will take you nowhere. So you'll have to practice. So I started using these applications, and yeah, listening is really important, I guess. So I started listening. I started listening to different podcasts from some guys are from Britain or from America. So yeah, that's, I guess, helped me a lot.
So you've gone from not being able to say like excuse me to being completely fluent. It's amazing.
Thank you. And yeah, I just wanted to ask you, how about your vocabulary then? So in English, or when I was learning a language, so our teachers, they would always say that if you don't read, if you can't read, you have to read more and more, so you can grow your vocabulary. So what about you in your case?
Yeah, so my vocabulary in Hindi is probably still pretty limited. I've only been learning for 2 years. मैं 2 सालों से सीख रहा हूँ. लेकिन so जब भी मैं Hindustani films देखता हूँ, whenever I watch Hindustani films, I will keep a notepad. Even right now, I've got a notepad with some words from Deepak's last conversation. He told me the word fasana. You can see it there, and it's to make a fool of someone or to scam. And so I write these words down and I try and use them in the conversation. But my vocabulary is still very small. But I found that I used to keep, like, right when I started learning Hindi, I kept flashcards and I would practice them. But then I'd find that I might know a word, but I couldn't use a word. And so it was far more important for me to just try and use a word in a conversation. And I found that after I'd used a word, maybe 2, 3, 4 times in a conversation, suddenly I remembered it. But if I just wrote it down and never actually used it, it wouldn't stick in my mind.
So they say in English, if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Very true.
Awesome. And that's really interesting that you are learning. You are not stressed at all about learning new word or anything, and you are happy. You are satisfied, although you have limited vocabulary. So you are not rushing after the language. And do you ever get, stressed about language in learning?
So it's probably a little different for me in that for me, I'm not learning English, not learning Hindi for a degree or to try and pass a test or to try and get a job. It's for me, yeah, mera shauq hai. It's a hobby. But I found that there's times that I get totally frustrated because I can't communicate what I want to communicate. But I also found that there have been times when I've been able to say something and have built friendships, and that's been really cool. So sometimes you feel like you're winning, sometimes you don't, but every time along the way you grow. And I guess I probably have found as well that the times that I have felt, oh my goodness, I'm not making any progress, I'm not nearly as bad as I think I am, but I'm also probably in the times that I think, oh, look, I'm perfectly fluent in Hindi, I'm not nearly as good as I think I am either. And so just to be realistic and keep progressing. However, I will say, I think I found that reading in Hindi has really helped. Just being able to unconsciously pick up little bits of grammatical structures or to actually just follow along with something in Hindi has been really helpful.
Wow, awesome tips for us. And so do you have any friends in Australia they speak foreign languages or anything like that?
Yeah, I think there's probably some friends that do. I've got a friend that's learning German, and good question. There are a couple of people learning languages, but a lot of people would probably learn a language if they were needing to move to another country for work or for study. But I guess it's not something that you need to do all the time. Everyone in Australia speaks English, and we're very non-diverse on the language front.
Awesome. And you're also learning because you want to explore India.
मैं
When are
हिंदुस्तान
you
में घूमना
coming?
चाहता हूँ. When am I coming? मुझे पता नहीं, कोरोना वायरस के बाद.
Awesome. And I'm sure that you'll be able to communicate in Hindi as well and in English as well. So yeah, I hope it will be a great journey for you.
Thanks,
Indian
Deepak.
journey.
I appreciate that.
So I guess Noah bhai, it's pretty much it for today. We keep talking about different topics.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
See you next time.
See you next time.